Hello everyone. So this video I'll show you this PDF for Transpose Master for posing of our characters in ZBrush. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so you use the Z plugin Transpose Master, which temporarily flatten all the visible subtool into a single mesh, and we can pose it by using masking and blurring of edges or using Z-Sphere. So I'll go through the masking and blurring of edges in this tutorial. Okay, so you can pose your mesh until the pose looks good. Then masking the blur edge gives you a better result for this. Okay, after you're done, you do a T-pose sub T, and then you'll be able to align the information of the pose to every subtool. So you apply to every subtool and then bring all the subtools back to the same position. Okay, so we open up a demo soldier and delete a lower subdivision and change the dynamesh resolution to 240. Alright, so open up my demo soldier, delete my subtool, subdivision on the body. So there's no more subdivision level on this body. Holding down shift left click to just focus on it. And then I'll do a 240 resolution on this. I'll just click apply. Alright, so I have a 240 resolution level. Points is about 2.5 million. Okay, so now I use IMM primitive. Okay, create a cylinder, and then I'll do a split mask pass to split it out on the new subtool, and then I'll try to rotate it and make it long like a spear over here. Okay, so I want this spear as a control because we are going to use this spear to simulate having a very long weapon or a hard surface kind of thing. So it okay, let me off my sub symmetry and then off my perspective. Then to make something long, you just create the cylinder very long and then you make it small again, so you end up with something very long. Okay, I'll just move it in, press alternate to move the pivot, and then I'll just rotate it like this. Okay, so in this case I'll put my spear over here. Okay, so if you have this control will give you the will show us later when we pose the character what we'll do when we hide it, and what if we have something that is a bit more troublesome to pose together with the full body, because it's not tight like a t-shirt that is close to a body. So we rather just separate something that is long if we have something long like this. Okay, so that's why I want to create this spear over here. Alright, so the rod is done. So now I'll do a T-pose sub T. Then and then you will flatten everything together as one, as you can see over here. Then now we can do a mask lasso to start to control the areas. We can also go to masking, blur mask to mask the areas. Okay, so with this spear, right, we need to do a split and mask point. So it's on a different tool level. And then before we post this character, anything that we don't want to post together, we have to hide it. So obviously this pole, I'm going to hide it because I don't want it to be posted together with a character. It will give me trouble later. Okay, so I will only hide the rod, the sphere, and then I'll go to Z plugin, and then Transpose Master. Sorry, click the wrong one. T-pose mesh. Okay, so I'll just do a mesh of everything. Right, so now the mesh is complete, and then when you finish, you do a T-pose sub T. Okay, so now if I want to pose a certain area, I'll hold down Control and then I'll change this to mask lasso. Okay, so let's say I want to mask my hands. If I press Control click, I'll soften the mask. If I press Control alternate, I'll sharpen it. So our idea is we want to soften it as much as possible. Then I press Control I to rotate it to invert the selection. Now if I press a W to try to rotate this, and I press alternate left click on this area. So I move the pivot to this section right here. I want to put it right at the center, so I will have the less errors as much as possible. Okay, so I'll try to mask it like this. So let's say if I want to rotate the upper part of the body, try. So so as you can see, because everything is merged together, we can pose everything and then later we would unpose it. Okay, so there's going to be some artifacts. So for example, now I can already see artifacts here and over here. But generally, we can it can be part of the form, or we can try to smooth it or fix it later. So it can't be helped lah. Oh, so there's a advantage and disadvantage as to this method like this. But at least when we create a character is in a T pose or A pose, and then so when we try to shift it around, there's spacing, a good amount of space for us to pose our characters, and then yeah, it just can be helped. So just do your best to and take some time to pose your characters, and you should be able to get the idea of how to do it. Right. So let's say I want to. So the also on this model, the legs are very close together. So it's a very good example of showing you how this could be a problem. So in terms of rigging or in terms of posing a character like this, generally don't want anything to stick so close together. In this case, I believe no matter what we do, there's going to be some errors here. So let me try. So if we were to put the leg over here, try to rotate it. Ta-da! So we have some errors over here. So already it's showing us that there is some problems. So so that's why when you model, you want to keep a good amount of space. So let's say you have modeled your hands, you want a good amount of space here, whether in ZBrush or in Maya, and then same for legs. So in this case, the legs is like this, so it gives you problems like this. Okay, another thing to take note, you don't want to be doing any kind of modeling at this stage. So you may get carried away and then you feel like, oh, why don't I try smoothing this thing out now, or I try to use number one brush here. Okay, it's a very, very bad idea, guys. Don't do any modeling at any stage. So it's the same for almost everything I teach you in ZBrush. So if you're modeling, you focus on modeling. If you're posing, you focus on posing. If you're poly painting, you focus on poly painting. Try not to jump to do two things at once. And in this case, using Transpose Master, you cannot. Sorry, I should use the red one. You cannot do posing and using number one brush or number two brush or any kind of brushes together over here is a very bad idea. So never do that. It will crash your file. So the pose that you work hard to make a very nice pose will be totally wasted. Okay, so I think I want you guys to do a practice like this, and then it will be good for you to learn about Transpose Master. Do a practice on this model before you apply it on your own ZBrush model if you're trying to pose it, and you get a better idea of what needs to be done. Okay, so maybe I will end this with maybe another rotation on the head. So Control left click and Control I to invert, turn it, left click. Also, all these have been taught to you before. Different parts of adjusting the model or adjusting the orientation of the pivot, how to move the pivot, holding alternate, having this thing unlock, things like that. Okay, so maybe this guy is looking very high right now. So it's a very long neck. Okay, so maybe not too long like this. Okay, so you try to fix the rest of the problems later. Okay, so maybe my post is like this. So follow your key reference. Follow a reference that you have. Think of a pose that you want to do, and then start to know the restrictions of doing this. And then okay, so for now, maybe I want to keep the video short. I'll just show you the final. So you do a Tipo sub T, and what it's gonna do is do a extract, and then it's gonna move everything to that position, and then it will give you all the separate files. So how cool is that, man? Everything is on the separate file, and then except for which one? Except for our spear. So our rod is not touched at all. So now we just need to move our rod to where we want it to be. So maybe now we want our rod to be over here. Okay, we can do that. Maybe I want this pose to be more like this. Okay. Okay, so depends on what you want to do. Okay, so we'll see. So yep, so this is my pose right here. And then if I want to go back and fix some parts, as you can see now, if you want to fix parts, yes, you should go back and fix now. So I'll isolate on this boots over here, and then I'll do a smooth IO like that, and then try to smooth it. This is on subdivision level, and still possible, huh? So it's still possible to adjust it. So you need to do things like that, and keep in mind this error is because there's not enough spacing, and in consideration to rigging, in consideration to body painting. Sorry, not body. In consideration to posing, that's why you will have errors like this. And then if your model is if you already model in such a way that that is kind of okay, that you shouldn't have that you have always have enough space, then you shouldn't have to worry about things like this, right? So height point, delete hidden, close hole, and then try to fix some of this. So do keep in mind there's some fixing to do, and purposely showing you also part of the fixing. You may not have to fix this at all on your model, but also at the same time, it's not hard lah, huh? So it just takes a bit of work to go back in and try to fix some stuff in. Shift left click, adjust maybe the clothes here. Later I'll go in and adjust. Let me see. So the body is here. You know, it's not hard. So I just need to inflate this area. Inflate this area. Or maybe use no one a little bit. Maybe I'll do another Dynamesh. And yeah, and then you start to resolve some of these errors. Anyway, it's hiding underneath the clothes, so there is some leeway that you can play with, that you can just push in towards. Then you understand how to do the final pose of the character, and then also have the A. So you have the A pose model, and then as well as your T pose model, both of it together. Okay. As for the entire workflow, okay, it's still a bit it's still a bit how to say it's still up to debate, okay, but for me, I'll definitely recommend you finish the whole character with the clothing, everything else. Okay, so essentially you finish modeling everything, and then you pose your character. That's what I always recommend, and that's what I see on the forums and what the other artists are doing as well. It works almost 90% of the time. So there will be some time where maybe you have some very crazy clothing or something, and it might be a little bit more efficient if you were to pose it and then you change the clothing. But after you do this step, you also realize that um it's kind of okay. You have the character in T pose or A pose, and then at least you have the character that is already working with everything there, as opposed to having a poster character and only have the clothes. Maybe there's a cape over here, only have the clothes that work on a poster character. Then maybe next time if you have a very, very good character and then you want to really go back and rig it, and you realize that, oh, why is my character only posted like this? And then you won't be able to go work backwards and go back and make this into a T pose or A pose. It will be even more troublesome because you are trying to get all this rig position into another A pose again. Um, yeah, it's gonna be another type of trouble. So we'll still recommend everyone to always model all the parts, all of the full character, just like this demo soldier. You know, the demo soldier has a lot of parts that is close to the body, and it works very well. Uh, so even if you have clothing or things like that, maybe you don't spend so much effort first. So don't spend like 100% of your effort. Maybe like 60% of your effort. Maybe you have a long cape or clothing, and then maybe it will be affected when you start posing. But as long as you keep in mind of the workflow and that you need to do adjustments at a later time, you'll be fine. So you also cater some time for your adjustments to the pose and um, to make everything work together on your posted model at a later time. So I hope this clears up for you. My PDF also go through a lot of other stuff. I think it also shows some method about creating a rim at the bottom. So it's very detailed. So I don't think I need to go through this because it's actually quite simple. So if you are interested, just look through the PDF lah. Oh, so it's just making a stone platform below. And probably you guys at this stage already know how to do it anyway. Alright, so I'll give the PDF to you guys and then hope you enjoy this video. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.